Today we're going to undertake a little bit of protection of a Honda lawnmower. First thing we did was take all the grass clippings that have collected over the years on this, knocked it off with a pressure washer, got all the major physical stuff out of the way. And so we used our cleaner degreaser right after we got all the physical stuff out of the way to degrease, de-wax, get rid of this and make it a fairly clean surface. The cleaner degreaser attacks the greases, the waxes, makes them easier to break down and more aggressively cleans the surface. It also aggressively starts to attack any loose paint and things like that. So a lot of times we do recommend that you take a Scotch-Brite pad, a maroon Scotch-Brite pad, which we offer in a variety of different art kits or for sale by themselves, and degloss the paint, actually providing it a mechanical surface by which the rust preventive itself not only will bite into, but ultimately chemically bind to. At the end of the day, we're going through all this effort to make sure that we protect this lawnmower or whatever you're painting and make sure it lasts a good long time. The paint's there to protect the surface from corrosion, rusting, and things like that. So we're taking the opportunity to give that paint the best opportunity to adhere and last for a long time to come. And I think you'll see here in a few short seconds, all the glossy surfaces that we had on this deck pretty much go away with just a few simple swipes of the Scotch-Brite pad. You can use a wire wheel. Wire wheel will have the added benefit of removing some paint. You would go into this same process if you're painting the chassis of your car or motorcycle or things like that. We have most of this paint dulled down. We've knocked out some more clippings and some more solid stuff, so we have to clean. And we are ready for really the second cleaning step, which is the metal prep. And metal prep is really the polar opposite of what the cleaner degreaser is. Cleaner degreaser being alkaline based, the metal prep is acidic, cleans the surface, it neutralizes any residual cleaner degreaser that might be on the surface, and it also leaves a phosphate coating on the metal or whatever you're painting. So that acts as another additional corrosion preventive. You want to keep the surface wet for 5 to 10 minutes. Acidic cleaners, especially on bare metal, will promote corrosion. So you're gonna see this whole thing flash rust. That's okay. I typically like to rinse it off at the end and everything kind of drains out. And now it's ready for the third step of painting the rust preventive. And we're using the Rust Stop kit. Comes with a brush, comes with a foam brush, gloves, and everything you need. One of the things I like to do is before I paint with especially the bristle brush, is take a rough surface and brush the bristles on there so it knocks off all the loose bristles so you don't have bristles stuck in your paint. Had we had more time and a little different scenario, I would have masked off a lot of the pieces or removed any of the plastic components that we have on there, but pretty comfortable that I can get in there and not overpaint an area. So I didn't bother masking this off, but part of the prep process is proper masking. Prior to opening the can, I'll put on the gloves. I've ruined too many clothes and have had paint on me for weeks at a time after opening the rust preventive. Today we're using the gloss black rust preventive in all sizes, a pint and up. We offer gray, clear, silver, semi-gloss black, and gloss black. The other thing about the rust preventive, it can hold air bubbles really easily, and so we don't recommend that you shake the paint. In most cases, a simple stir will get you exactly where you need to be. So I'm gonna take the screwdriver that I opened the can with, stir it up a little bit, and typically, if you feel anything, you'll feel it right away that there may be any clumps. I'll take the top and use the wet paint from that, and then just start going and paint to the inside of the deck. First coat is always gonna look a little thin. That's okay. Again, like I said, we want thin coats. It promotes good coverage and ensures that we're getting the whole surface coated. I tend to be a bristle brush fan, so I tend to use that more often. Both get product onto the surface. You don't need to overwork the paint. You're just getting an even coat on there to start. And the second coat, when it's time, will fix any areas that either may be too thin or we didn't get proper coverage. If you do happen to paint in any fasteners that are on whatever you're painting, once the paint cures, it will glue them in place and you will have something that's very difficult to take apart. Well, the rust preventive, the resins and polymers used in this are urethanes, specifically moisture cured urethanes, and the chemistry that makes up the polymer makes them very robust. So they're very durable. They can take an impact, they're still stay flexible, and they have great adhesion properties. Pretty much anything that you want to prevent from further corrosion or corrosion in general, this is a fantastic solution for. But there are limitations. And the biggest limitation of the Rust Preventive is that its exposure direct to sunlight causes it to fade and chalk and lose its shine. The other parts of our portfolio, our top coat enamel, a 2K urethane, our other top coat products provide an extra layer of corrosion prevention, but also provide a layer of protection for the Rust Preventive from direct sunlight or UV rays. And like any paint, you don't want to go back in and rework it a lot. It's just coat and move on. We got our first coat down, and so what we do now is wait. The Rust Preventive is a moisture-cured urethane. What that means is it takes moisture from the air and starts to react and create the polymer coating that you're gonna finally have on your substrate. Depending on the environment, temperature, relative humidity, where you are on the planet, it may take a few hours to overnight to cure. We do have a product out there that helps accelerate it to under an hour or under a few hours. That's our dry time accelerator. So we're ready for our second coat. Typically, you'll know you're ready. It's usually 2 to 5 hours. If you have that finger drag where you can feel a little bit tacky, but you're not getting paint off on your fingers, you're ready for your second coat. If you can get your finger drag and you're not feeling soft or tacky, or you can't get your nail into it to leave a mark, at that point you recognize we're gonna have to scuff it before we put a second coat on. So we're gonna go back now because it is dried hard, cured hard, and knock all the gloss down and get it ready for that second coat of POR to tidy up any pinholes or fish eyes. POR itself, once it's cured, is very resistant to all sorts of chemicals, including itself. So it doesn't eat into itself when you're going to paint it. So if we let it go too far and it cures hard like it is now, we're gonna have to create some mechanical tooth for the second coat to bite into. Stirred our paint. And now we're starting to apply our second coat. Again, making sure that we cover everything, seeing all the pinholes. Right now, this second coat is all about making sure that we have a full, again, thin coat for the second coat, but we're applying full coverage and we're not having any voids in the coating to possibly expose the substrate to anything that can corrode it or cause it damage. And what we recommend is that you buy in the size that fits your job. It is a moisture cured, so as soon as you pop off the lid, you're gonna start the reaction of the product curing and creating a film. So we've finished our second coat, we've repaired any pinholes, we've coated over and it's not fish eyeing, we've gotten all the areas. It's a nice thin second coat that's full coverage. All we do now is wait. So we have 2 solid coats, full coverage. It's not gonna be exposed to UV, so we don't need to add that extra top coat layer to protect the Rust Preventive. If we were exposed to UV, we will wanna put a top coat on there, but we're done. We have a fully protected, ready to use lawnmower that will provide solid service, be easy to clean, and more importantly, won't continue to corrode and not be usable or serviceable in a few short years. So clean, prepped, painted, and is ready for use.